Yes, everybody, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur, and this is going to be your Twitter reacts after we finally were able to get over the line against Azad Alkmaar. In my opinion, it's what we needed as a fan base. We needed to be able to get past this team, to hold on and to cling on to something for the rest of this season. Much deserved, in my opinion. Wasn't the prettiest of performances, but I still think we absolutely deserved a 3-1 win, and we're going to be celebrating it. We're going to be happy clapping through it via Twitter reacts. So everybody smash that like button and let me know what your favorite of these are, because I do enjoy doing Twitter reacts after a win, and we haven't had too many of them, sadly, this season. So please, everybody, do get into the comments, do smash the like button, because these only come so often, or at least at this moment in time. Let's get straight into it here, Davo, and we're going to start off first with a little quote from my man Nikola Jokic here, and he's just kind of, maybe expressing, the fact that, Ange Postecoglou, maybe deserves another chance. He's saying Ange lives another day. Don't bet against the fat boys, says Jokic on his doubters, and brilliant to see. Then we also have some lovely clips of people like Carly, as well as some others. Cootie Romero, Dave here. Wasn't this just a bit of class from the guy? Look at that challenge that he put in earlier in the game. Sliding challenge
No,
there.
I
Absolutely
got
sent him to the
flashbacks.
floor. And
Do
then
you
just
remember
the
Leicester?
coolness of the pass.
Do you remember Leicester when he made like 2 challenges and then played someone through? I was getting flashbacks when I seen that.
And then also as well, Dave, we got a little sauce from the Odobert.
I
One,
mean,
2, 3, 4.
4. Unbelievable.
Look at this.
Honestly.
Also, look at like how many people are collapsing on him here as well, and he just finds a way out of this position here. It's just unbelievable. I mean, Brendan Johnson could never even think of doing something like this in a game.
Well, interestingly enough, as soon as he gets the ball, look at in the midfield, look at 4 of them swarming on him, and he just dances through 5 of them. Just dances through every single one of them, takes them out of the game. And this is what we've been missing down that right hand side. Something that me and you've been saying all along. Someone that can get on the ball, take players out of the game and create space for others, create chances for others. And this is exactly what Wilson Odobert done. Absolutely brilliant.
And then also as well, Dave, if you remember these little touches from Lucas Bergvall, it's just a little bit
Oh
of
yeah.
sauce as well. 1,
Bosh,
2.
goodbye. brilliant from Lucas Bergvall.
A lot of praise for him on the night. And Apollo as well, maybe quote tweeting somebody or replying back, injuries are saving Odobert. I'd argue he's worse than Brennan, and I'm being serious. Well, there's a tap in for you Brennan lovers. There you are. And the Odobert haters. What a left-footed finish as well. Absolute top ends from the man. Aditya Singh saying Sarr doing back-to-back 90s during Ramadan, especially given the kind of player he is, deserves a special mention. Yeah. I actually like that second part of the sentence there, Dave, where he is a box-to-box player. He's an engine room, kind of player. So the fact that he is, technically observing Ramadan at this moment, right? That's where I think it does really deserve that special mention, because he's, how do you put it? He's not like a Berbatov or someone that's just going to kind of just stand around, do flicks and tricks, be a cool, classy type player. I think he is a classy player, Sarr, but let's be honest, he's that sort of engine type guy, and you need good food in you, Dave. You need good, energy in you in order to do that. So fair play to the guy. Also love the outfit as well, in this good picture.
I think to understand the importance of it, people might sit there and go, oh, that won't have too much of effect on his performance. You look at a lot of professional athletes now hiring professional chefs, for all their meals and stuff like that, because they understand that the right foods is important for you for your performances. And, he can't have that during the day. He can't have that pre-match meal and everything else. He's going in there starving, empty stomach, which does affect the amount you can run about there, how far you can get around the pitch and what you can do on the day. It does affect your performance. So fair play to Sarr.
Imagine Dave and I, without being able to do any kebab orders, chicken kormas, that sort of thing, we'd be just, half the content, half the ability that we normally can produce. James saying, what a performance from these two. Hungman's son, there's life in the tank yet. Well, I think he did actually really warm up into the game, and then we did start to see more of the vintage Sonny again. But Wilson Odobert maybe giving us a sign of what's to come in the future, right? In terms of an exciting, dynamic winger. Ange Nation, we're here to stay, says Luke at GHFC. Definitely the Ange out, or the Ange in crowd are definitely very happy. Billy saying Spence overlapping Son is becoming cash money.
Yeah, it's a great partnership down that left-hand side. I keep throwing Madison into that as well, because what you often see is the 3 of them working it down that left-hand side. It often gets to Son. And then what Spence does is he makes the overlap on the outside, which actually then gives Son the choice. Feed him cut on the inside because you're sort of splitting the fullback. He doesn't really know which way to go. But I'd argue the fact that you've actually got Spence with end product, coming off that side, that's the most important to make it effective. Because if the fullback knows Spence has no end product, they go with Son all day long. But the fact now is they have to worry about Spence. They have to sort of go with him to a large degree. So it creates absolute havoc down that left-hand side. So I agree with Billy on that one.
And we also know how much more dangerous Sonny is once he does drift inside, right? He can either pick out a dangerous pass, a dangerous cross, or we all know he has that shooting ability as well. The Spurs Express saying the second leg will take place on the 17th of April, the 6-year anniversary of this famous Tottenham European away night. We're going to begin the first leg. First leg is going to be at home. Second leg is going to be in Frankfurt. So let's hope that we can produce similar glory. Christina, Dave, just took a video of...
Wilson. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
They're very good players as well, celebrating the fans afterwards.
Do you know what? I hope that does his confidence the world of good, Jack, because a guy like him who comes to Tottenham for 30 million has been out injured for large parts of this season. It becomes very frustrating or very demoralising for a youngster, and he deserves that love last night. And what I have noticed is we haven't had to sit here and go Wilson Berdinio and make up all these names to make him sound great, if you've noticed. We just call him Wilson or Odobert because he just does exactly what we need him to do. Whereas with Brennan Johnson, we've come up with all these nicknames to make him sound better and look better than what he is.
He's just Wilson. That's what he is. He's just the only Wilson.
That's the way.
Little baller, says Zeus, definitely. Yeah. So the Spurs Army, the dugout's reaction to James Madison goal last night is must-watch content. Look at Richie.
You'd swear Richie scored that.
he loves a goal, Richie. Decky, Kinski. There's Radu Dragishin as well. Radu Dragishin, he's got to be careful. He's got an injury here. Love to see that as well.
I wonder, does the likes of Radu, do you know the way the South Americans are so passionate and stuff? I wonder if some of the other European-based players around them just start roughing them up during celebrations just to make them go even harder sometimes, because I would.
Richie's definitely a vibes man. And
that's what Radu done there, watch. He just grabs Richie and then sends him off going again, watch.
Some of them, finished. They like the physical. They like the physical. They like bullying each other. They like pushing each other around. There's the hitman as well in the background. In case you see him. Billy saying, sign Poku. I've seen enough. India clears throat. Azad Alkmaar, more like easy Alkmaar. It sounds like a joke you would have came up with. I'm surprised that you didn't actually yesterday. Yeah. Billy Gray in midfield, never give up on your dreams. And then also Lucas saying starting at home, and then we play second leg in Frankfurt. I think that's just a memory to, again, the Man City, away performance as well. Just tears come to the eyes. People think it could be a special season. Yeah. Carly saying Mickey's face when they asked what it's like being back and playing with Cootie again. They're the perfect yin and yang.
Yeah, with the Step Brothers. Remember the famous quote that he came up when he done that drive around? I make Romero more calm. He makes me more aggressive. Like, they actually do genuinely love each other. It's a great partnership we're seeing blossom here.
You see the best in each other, that's for sure. Sue saying, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. That probably should have made the thumbnail, actually. That maybe should have made the thumbnail. Credit to Zeus there. Charlie B saying, I've seen Spurs fail much easier European assignments under managers under much less pressure than Ange. That's a huge win. The way he keeps the players fighting is quite something. I thought that was a very interesting, thought and tweet from Charlie B there. Dave, I mean, he's right, actually. We have seen previous managers collapse under technically less pressure than what Ange Postecoglou had to go through last time.
Yeah, well, look, Nuno collapsed in the Europa Conference League, so did Conte, and so did Jose Mourinho in the Europa League, and that's nothing against their managerial
and their jobs weren't necessarily on the line yet.
Not at that point, nowhere near at that point. They weren't even under that amount of pressure. Ange Postecoglou, look, his job was on the line last night, and the added pressure of Pochettino being on TalkSport saying that he would love to come back to Tottenham one day. I mean, there's a lot riding on that, and I think Postecoglou deserves to come up with a lot of praise last night. He picked the right lineup. He made the brave call dropping Brennan Johnson, bringing in Wilson Odobert. It's paid off. He picked the right team. We scored goals last night. And, he made the right substitutions as well. So I think, if you're going to criticise him and ridicule him like many have this season, and look, we've had a go at him about his in-game substitutions, some of his starting lineup selections and stuff. You got to be big enough to put it aside and praise him where it's due. And fair play to him last night. And, to get all them decisions right under the pressure that he was under with a job on the line, it's not an easy thing to do,
100%. Carly, what does Dom know? Dom put the phone call emojis to Jed Spence. Now, Dave, Dominic Solanke did get the call up. He's been injured for a period. I think he does deserve it, to some extent, but he has been injured for a period. It's just Jed Spence being left out of the team. Absolute crime. So I guess hopefully Dominic Solanke can put in a good word with Tuchel.
Look, I think in terms of Dominic Solanke, I think outside Harry Kane, I think everyone knows there's a large shortage of strikers for England and a large drop off. So, likes of Ollie Watkins and the likes of Solanke and all will keep getting in there. Now, Maddison didn't get called up. Now, I can actually understand that one, Jack. I've said all along, these performances that he's putting in Tottenham where he shows up every once in a while is not good enough for an England team. When you're competing with the likes of Jude Bellingham, Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, Eze, who else is in there? Morgan Rogers, people like that who perform, who can show that they can perform consistently over a large number of years. I mean, he's always going to lose out, and that's why I keep saying he has to do it week in, week out. Some people think it's unrealistic demands, but if he wants to get back in the England team, which he does, that's what he needs to do. With the Spence one, I don't understand it. I think they've called up Lewis Myers-Skelly, who's actually a midfielder who has played left back at times. At times for Arsenal this season, they've called him up. Levi Colwell, he can play out there, at times, but again, he's more of a natural centre back. Dan Burn, he can play out there, but again, more of a natural centre back. I don't understand why Jed Spence hasn't made the squad. I think they've missed a huge trick here.
Thomas Tucci, what are you doing, baby? Matt Hayes saying Bergvall is the Dembele replacement we've been craving for too long. There, I said it. Now, Dave, are you getting Dembele vibes, or are you getting a different type of vibe, maybe of a previous Spurs player? Any Spurs players you can think of that maybe he's similar to?
Look, I understand what Matty is sort of getting at to a certain degree, right? You look at Bergvall's defensive contributions in that number 6 last night. I think he won 100% of his duels. And then you also look at his contribution going forward. I think he had a 92% pass accuracy, constantly getting on the ball. We've seen the clip earlier on of him beating players, taking them out of the game. And we also watched last night him putting that ball through the line. So I think when you look at Moussa Dembele, that's what he used to offer that midfield. I think the big question going forward is Bergvall a number 6? Or is he better suited to that number 8 advanced role? I would argue, I actually think he looks much better in the number 6 role than he does in that number 8 role. In that number 8 role, you need to create a little bit more and I think others in the team can do that better than Bergvall. But I think in that number 6 role, I think he looks really good, Jack. I think he takes the play lovely back from there. Don't get me wrong. What I will say is I don't want to get too carried away with the Bergvall praise because there is things that he does need to improve on. The amount of silly yellow cards he picks up, he needs to improve on that. But also, he was at fault for the goal last night. He was at fault for the goal in the first leg against AZ Alkmaar. And he was at fault for a goal against Newcastle, giving away the ball in that deeper position. And they are things that he needs to cut out of his game. And we have to realise that.
Different kind of Sauceberg. Harry Scarf, just wanted to shout out this guy, really, really good person to this channel. He was on his way to the game last night, hoping for a good night under the lights. Maybe him and Sam, Dave, are good luck charms. We need them at all the games. Lucas Bergvall did say, though, Dave, into the next round. Hope you enjoyed that one, Spurs fan. Come on, you Spurs. Love that from Lucas. Jay Harris saying Ange Postecoglou is going up to every Spurs player and hugging them as they walk down the tunnel. Very, very good. Giving them, the thanks that they need and also hopefully developing that personal connection with the players as well. Conceição time, Dave. Odobert brace, Maddison goal, Solanke assist, double, Son assist, and we're through to the quarters. Get the cigars out, get the celebrations out, everybody. You also heard George Hill, right? He said, I'm shameless. Let's celebrate. Listen to George, everybody. Zeus saying into the quarters, such a massive result. We needed that one, definitely. Also love that photo, Dave.
It's a great photo.
Really boss photo from a lot of the players there. Really, really like it. Mean mugging it, from all of them. They're looking serious. Look like they're ready for business. Cootie Romero and Troy Parrott, Son Heung-min and Troy Parrott. Son giving him a hug, and this is what Cootie gave him, Dave.
Yeah, look, I can understand the son giving him a hug. Troy Parrott would have been around for a lot of time. Son was around. They've known each other a lot longer. But I did spot this. So I remember Parrott going down in the game, and I remember Romero standing over him, snarling at him. I think at that point in the game, Romero was pissed off because how many players were going down and taking 2-3 minutes to get back up? I think at that point, Romero was just like, look, I'm going to keep doing this to you if you keep doing that, And the referee's starting to let it go a little. So, look, I can understand why Romero... But what I would say is, what image gives you more captain vibes there?
That, but also, I think people have forgotten that when Romero does something like this, when he really lays one into a player, like we've seen plenty of them go hiding after that, right? Because you just don't want to go near him, right? He's a guy that is intimidating. He's somebody that the moment you touch the ball, you are worried, like, is someone about to
Yeah,
just go through me here, after this? And I wonder if Troy Parrott, ended up maybe having to look over his shoulder more times because he was causing us problems in that
yeah.
first leg, right? And then in the second leg, after a challenge like that, I can't really remember too much that Troy Parrott really did after that. So, what I'm trying to say, Dave, that players like that, the bully type defenders, it sometimes goes unnoticed and underappreciated that
Well,
they can actually just take a player out of the game just by being surely intimidating.
Well, I remember me and you banging on about. Remember when we went to that West Ham game together, and he laid it on Antonio,
Yeah.
and Antonio didn't want to know for the rest of the game. He'd done similar to Saint Maximum that season. He was taken off after 10 minutes. You know what I mean? I think and that's something that we've always tried to point out with Romero. He does intimidate opposition strikers. You look at Danzo's played well. Archie Gray's played well in there, and Ben Davies has done a decent job. Radu Dragusin. But none of them actually intimidate the opposing attacker. They do well to try and quell them, but they don't really lay in on them. This is something we've missed from Romero, and like you pointed out, Parrott went missing after that. He didn't want it. He didn't fancy it.
Looks like he's about to
That's what he
swallow
does.
Troy Parrott there, practically. Staying alive, Cody Mack. And then this made the thumbnail. Tottenham Hotspur, just casual, cool. Wilson Odobert, love to see that. Bleacher Report football. Wilson Odobert has never scored for Tottenham before today. He scored now in two big ones to put them ahead of AZ Alkmaar on aggregate. Also something to mention, right, Dave, is that Odobert, he's missed a couple of tap-ins, but he's barely played any football at all. It was a big call by Ange Postecoglou to play him in this game, and boy, did this guy deliver, on the game. So fair play to the kid, as well, for stepping up in the biggest game of the season and being the man of the match.
Well, I'd also argue, Jack, the two games before that, he's earned it. The game against Man City, he's our best forward player, and against Bournemouth as well. I think, he's earned the right, and this is what we keep saying. In years gone by, we've heard players need 6, 7, 8 games to get going, nearly a quarter of a season. You need to give them a run. I've always said, no, it's about taking your opportunity. Wilson Odobert comes back from injury. He gets 2 opportunities. He takes it. He's landed himself in Tottenham's biggest game of the season, and he takes that as well.
100%.
It's about taking your opportunities, Jack, and he deserves everything he's getting today, the praise.
Pop Montasar as well. Dave was on Twitter. Got the job done. Your support pushed us tonight. Spurs official fans, thank you so much, Pop Montasar, for a brilliant performance and putting in a shift for us. Stat Muse, Dominic Solanke this Europa League season. 5 goals and assists, 3 starts. Didn't think about that, actually. He's barely played at all in the Europa League.
Yeah, well, we haven't really had to rely on him, and then he was out injured that period. Basically with the Europa League, don't forget, we've sort of tried to just keep Dominic Solanke fit for the Premier League games because we haven't really needed him for Europe. But the games where he has impacted, he's done quite well. Like 2 assists last night. It's all you can ask from a guy. If you're not scoring goals and you're not getting the opportunities to score, at least contribute in other ways, and he's doing that.
And Blue Deer, so beautiful. It makes me want to cry. There it is. The team coming together, showing that camaraderie with each other. Also, as they should be, thanking Vicario, because I think this will also be quickly forgotten. The only reason I think we were only 1-0 down in that game and we held on to that hope, Vicario with his brilliant performance in that first leg. So everybody, like I've said a million times, I don't want any more Vicario slander for the rest of the season, please. This guy single-handedly, I think, has kept us in this tie.
And he made a great save near the end last night as well. But what I will say is, Jack, what really impressed me last night was, in games when we've talked about, players being smart and making smart decisions, near the end of the game, coming out, claiming crosses, relieving the pressure on the back line so the ball isn't bouncing around, time wasting. And then there was at one stage, everyone was setting up just to go through the routine again of the short goal kick. He was the only one that had a clear head in the moment, says, no, push up, we're going long. Showing leadership in the moment, helping this young squad sort of get over the line. And they're the little bits of tricks and dark arts in the game, or, leadership abilities that we've been speaking about that has been missing. And he provided that last night. He deserves a lot of credit, actually, for getting us over the line.
Love me some big pick. Billy saying Solanke is a proper footballer, gets F all created for him, but absolutely essential for us. I think Dave and I have felt the same way for a lot this season. He's just a poor guy, just doesn't get enough going his way, but he still finds a way to just still put in good shifts for the team. He's a team player. Carly saying, if you're a Tottenham fan, hoping Tottenham lose tonight, so Andrew Sack, you're weird as fuck. Spurs Express saying Tottenham Hotspur are the first side in major European competition history to have 5 players under the age of 21 score a goal in the same season. Lancashire, Ajayi, Moore, Scarlett, and Odobert. That's a good stat to hold on to. Probably make
Wonder
Daniel
how
Levy quite proud.
wonder how Shawny Maddox feels about that, actually, because one of his big gripes with Postecoglou is that he doesn't give enough youngsters a chance. So, Shawny Maddox, if you could let me know in the comments how you feel about that stat, and if it's maybe changing your mind a little, let me know.
Answer the man, Shawnee. Billy saying great win in an absolutely massive game. Not the most convincing of performance, but job done, so who cares? Probably keeps Ange in a job till the season is over. So gonna support the big man while he's here up the Spurs. I mean, Dave, now that he's beat AZ Alkmaar, is he in the job for the rest of the season, do you think?
Well, look, he's in the job up until at least, the middle of April, towards the end of April, right? Which is more or less till towards the end of the season. I think, what did we say, the 2 games where the return leg is the 17th of April, so he's in the job till at least then anyway. I think the season only goes on till about middle of May anyway, so it's more or less the end of the season. So yeah, look, and it gives him a chance to maybe try and work something in the Premier League, try and build a little bit of momentum there. Let's wait and see though. But yeah, look, while he's here, let's see what we can do. At the end of the day, Jack, we've always said the European run is so important to us, and we just want to try and get as far as we can. So let's get behind it.
Billy as well, Dave saying Longa might get a lifetime pass for signing Bergvall. I'm afraid. I was curious what you thought of that one.
No, look, credit to Lang. Bergvall, absolutely brilliant to pull him in here from Barcelona, because this guy was in Barcelona's hands. They brought out Deco and everybody else to smooth him. He done absolutely brilliant to get him to Tottenham Hotspur. However, are we going down the Steve Hitchen route where you pull out one signing and praise his whole job at Tottenham Hotspur? Look at the rest of the signings compared to what we've actually needed. A lot of it has been underwhelming, and I'm not getting into that route. Like with Paratici, everyone used to point out the bad signings, but no one ever gave him praise for the good signings. He had a lot more good signings than he did bad signings. When you look at Johan Lang, he's just failed to read the room in like 3 transfer windows. So I'm not going to go down that realm, although I'm big enough to give him praise for Bergvall signing.
I think what I've said in the past before, and I'm pretty sure Dave has agreed with this, is like it's not even what Johan Lange has signed, it's kind of what he hasn't signed, since being here, right? It's like players that he should have signed or players that he didn't bring in through the door. I think we're happy actually with a lot of the players he has brought in, for like the long term and for the future. But it did feel like, he just missed out on bringing in that experience and that here now type of signing. So it's kind of what he hasn't brought in, maybe not really what he has. Alex, kind of not sure what you think of this, Dave. Spurs are doing pretty well to use their fullbacks to create 1v1 opportunities for Odobert and Son. It's just a shame, though, that Son's legs aren't there anymore, and Odobert has been moved to the right to accommodate him. I'm not too sure if that's the way to look at it, really, because I think Odobert was always going to be played on the right or the left, and Sonny was going to be, sort of the main choice left winger, for the time being. And I think Sonny, started off actually quite slowly in this game, but then slowly kind of warmed up into it and got into it. So I don't know. I thought maybe this was a little harsh, really, from Alex there, saying that, like Odobert is being burdened, by being played on the right. He looked brilliant on the right.
Yeah, look, I think it's a testament to Odobert. He's been brilliant down the left and brilliant down the right-hand side. It shows that he can play off either side, and I think that's very useful to a manager to a certain degree. Now, there will come a point in Odobert's career, like Kulusevski, he was versatile for a while, but eventually we found where he's most effective, and that will come a point, with Odobert at some time. But I do understand what you're saying about the fullbacks. If you watch, that's usually true. When the centre-backs get the ball, our 2 fullbacks sort of go in centrally, which creates the pass out to the wingers, 1-on-1. But I would argue, I'd like to see us make them passes a lot more. Sometimes, especially Romero, sort of ignores that right-hand side to a degree, when sometimes it's just there to put it into his feet 1-on-1. But I'd also say, when the fullbacks do get the ball, or the wingers do get the ball out wide, the fullbacks do bomb forward and try and pull players with them again to create a 1-on-1 situation. So I do actually understand what Alex is saying about the fullbacks. Bit harsh on Son, but I would say that devastating effect that has been there in years gone by just hasn't been there, as much over the last 2 years.
Yeah. Johnny H saying, great to see you again, my friend. Sandro looking sharp as always. Looks great, Sandro. Looks great.
Do you know what I love about
scarf,
this guy,
beard?
Sandro?
He's got one of the best beards of any Spurs player ever, I must say.
Do you know what I love about this guy, Sandro, lad? He does give the love to the fans. He really appreciates the support he got through his time at Tottenham, and he has no problem stopping giving time to fans and stuff like that,
He's a vibes guy and just
Yeah.
clearly a class guy, clearly a very, very nice person. First player in history to score a knockout brace in their first ever European start, Wilson ODAWGBert.
It's not a
Oh,
bad
how
one.
I've missed you, says Muskin.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Cudi Romero just afterwards. What a night, Spurs to the next round. Todos juntos, all together.
Todos juntos.
Squawka saying Tottenham have an incredible midfielder on their hands in Lucas Bergvall. The 19-year-old put in a superb display against AZ Alkmaar as he helped his side into the quarterfinals. He won 100% of his duels, 7 out of 7 completed, 100% of his take-ons, 3 out of 3, while no Tottenham player won possession more times, 8, or made more interceptions, 5, than the Swede. His game by the numbers here. There you are, everybody. He's going to be some player, according to Squawka Stats. Billy saying, are we going to effing Bilbao?
I think we all woke up questioning that this morning.
And now compared to maybe what Maddie did say, Dave, Oliver Freeman saying, I get Modric vibes from Lucas Bergvall. Which one is a better comparison between Dembele or Modric? Modric is really high praise, let's be fair.
Modric is exceptional praise, but I do think Bergvall could have that longevity of Luka Modric if he sort of, lives his life right. I do understand what Ollie is saying in terms of Bergvall and the Modric comparison. I'll go with Ollie on this one, Jack, because I do understand what he's saying. Like, there was a game against Southampton earlier on in the season where, again, Bergvall played the deep role. And where I did get the Modric vibes is, I remember him picking up that ball and just floating it over to the fullbacks and stuff like that. He's got that passing range as well. So I'd go with Modric on this one, actually.
Okay. Romero is back, says Luca.
Brilliant. Look at that.
So good. Billy saying, nope, yep, there it is. That's the one from the last Twitter Reacts. Dave, any final thoughts? So good to have a Twitter Reacts, after a win like that one. And as you saw from the watch along, everybody, if you were with us, I mean, we're still just exhaling, sighs of relief. And I think Dave and I are just still over the moon. I'm going to be happy clapping all the way through the weekend, if not all the way through international break after that win.
No, look, I'm absolutely buzzing after the win. Look, don't get me wrong, I still know the problems and everything else, but it's just good to have that win and release the pressure a little bit. We haven't had a win in quite some time. What I will say is there's a golden opportunity for them to back it up this weekend and start developing that bit of goodwill factor around the place. And then you're into the international break. You have a couple of weeks then to get players back, get your players that are coming back up to full fitness and attack after the international break and really go and push for something. So let's wait and see what can happen. But what I will say is, I love the praise for Wilson Odobert, but we haven't got carried away the way people did with Brennan Johnson. So I want people to get in underneath and let's start getting the good nicknames out here for Wilson Odobert. I think he deserves that.
100%. Please, everybody, say ODAWGBert in the chat. Please, everybody. Odobert. Smash the like button, please, everybody, on your way out. Thank you guys so much for supporting this channel. And as well, consider becoming a member because we have a members preview coming out for the Fulham game upcoming and plenty more important games after that. And we'll see you very soon. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. The dream's still alive.